Welcome to Conversations. I'm Suresh Kochatal. Sheikh Hasina has fled and Bangladesh is on the edge. The army has taken over and they promised a government of consensus. But that's easier said than done. We know for sure that when the army takes over, ruling governments across the world, they don't let it go. From Pakistan to Sudan, we have examples in many. But what's Bangladesh crisis all about? It started with a very small issue about providing reservations for those who fought for the freedom of the country. We have the same thing in our country too, isn't it? Suppose people protest tomorrow and say we should not give reservations to those people. What happens then? Of course, the charges laid against Sheikh Hasina was many, including the fact that she had jailed her political opponents, including the former Prime Minister. But that does not take credit away from a 15-year-old dream that she had. Rumors are agog that it is a deep state within the US which made this possible. Yes, that's for sure. Because US was gunning for Sheikh Hasina Wajid from a long time. They didn't want her back. And it's only countries like India which supported her. We know from the time of creation of Bangladesh, what was then East Pakistan in 1971, the US has never been comfortable in letting Pakistan get out of East Pakistan and then hand over to Bangladesh, or what is created as Bangladesh by Sheikh Mujibur Rahman. India trained the Mukti Bahinis, and they too fought for the liberation of Bangladesh. But today, the shoe is on the other foot. We're seeing the statues of Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, who was revered in Bangladesh, being toppled. What is this sign of? Is it a sign that Bangladesh is slipping into an Islamic republic? Yes, for sure. The attacks on Hindus across the country that was reported from the last 1 week peaked yesterday, and we saw numerous videos of Hindu temples and Hindus' families being attacked. Bangladesh is becoming another Pakistan, that's for sure. And there's no getting away from the fact that China, Pakistan, US, everybody wants to interfere in Bangladesh, and for very, very obvious reasons. They want to cut India to size. They don't want India to grow. And the CIA operatives have ensured that. But will India keep quiet? Because the first place where Sheikh Hasina Wajid fled in a military transport plane was to the Hindon Air Force Base near Delhi. And that's a very ominous sign why she did that. She knew that she could trust on India. We've seen what happened with India's neighbors in the past, from Sri Lanka to Pakistan, to Maldives, to Mauritius, to Seychelles. We have interfered in some cases and we have not interfered in other cases. During a coup in Seychelles, the Indian army went in and did a massive rescue operation there. But will we interfere in Bangladesh? I don't think so. Because the Bangladesh situation is waiting like a powder keg to be lit. It will go up in a blast. Islamist plus military power is a surefire recipe for disaster. And Bangladesh economy is already tanking. The so-called big economist of the UPA and now the India alliance, who had spoken that Bangladesh is ahead of India, Bangladeshis are all happy, will now have to eat the crow. They don't have any other option. But looking at the long-term picture, what is Bangladesh going to do in the years to come? First, democracy there is now going to be a joke. Anybody who says, including the army, that they'll bring back democracy is living in a kind of world which nearly doesn't exist. It's a utopian world. But more importantly, for India, is the security reasons. India has already banned all its flights from entering the Bangladeshi airspace, including Air India and Indigo. The Indian Army, especially the BSF, is on alert across the borders of all the states surrounding Bangladesh. At the same time, we need to see what is Mamata Banerjee going to do. Because she has been making noises that she will shelter Bangladeshis who flee the country and come into West Bengal. But is West Bengal another republic to do that? Don't they have to respect the Indian law, the constitution? Already West Bengal is chock-a-block with Bangladeshis who fled after 1971, illegally and legally. And that's a problem there. This war, or we can call it the war of nerves that is going to come about, is going to see a face-off, because we saw the looting of the presidential palace and many other places yesterday. Something very similar happened in Sri Lanka. But that time it was an economic crisis and India intervened, and Sri Lanka has officially acknowledged that India helped it come out of the crisis. But Bangladesh is a different cup of tea. There the fight is not about the economy or anything else. It is a fight for politics. It's a fight for power. Some nations, including the US, wanted the present Prime Minister to go. She refused and she held on as much as possible, and finally the entire deep state, as we saw in the various other countries like Iraq, Afghanistan, you name it, the US has gone and messed up all these places. They've gone everywhere, and you've seen that. Libya, they messed it up. They toppled an existing dictator, so-called dictators. Saddam Hussein in Iraq to Gaddafi in Libya. And we know what's happening to those countries now. Afghanistan had the Soviets, the US drove them out, and finally the Taliban drove out the US. I mean, how can the United States get it so wrong? They have a lame duck president in Joe Biden who doesn't know whether he's coming or going. They have Kamala Harris, whose comments actually crashed the entire stock market. Going forward, the only hope, and I hope so, that President Trump wins again. If he wins, at least there is a semblance of authority that the US can do. Of course, the US will never let their self-interest go part. We've seen Myanmar, with Aung San Suu Kyi ruling the country at one time, democracy thriving, and then the army taking over. And what did they promise? They promised the same thing as Bangladesh. We will bring back democracy. What the hell? There's no democracy in Myanmar anymore. The same thing happens in all countries, including North Korea, and to a certain extent China, which is actually a dictatorship, so to speak of, but more capitalist. Pakistan, on the other hand, yes, there again Imran Khan tried to rule, and you know who toppled Imran Khan. This is the message for India. We should be proud that we have a democracy that is thriving. But there are deep state agents in India who already are on Twitter from yesterday calling for the overthrow of the Narendra Modi government. If this is not sedition, then what is it? These people should be charged. Those on Twitter, those who are making speeches against, calling for a kind of a crowd movement against Narendra Modi to push him out. Modi was elected, Narendra Modi government was elected with 240 seats. Whatever said and done, they have an alliance which has a majority. We are a democracy and our army doesn't get into politics. Far from it. And if Rahul Gandhi and company thinks that they can topple the Narendra Modi government by using violence, they are mistaken. There is a huge silent majority of Bharatiyas who are keeping weight on the sidelines. We won't let this happen, Mr. Rahul Gandhi. You cannot do what you did in Bangladesh or what you saw happening in Bangladesh. We will defend our country and we will make sure that India stays democratic. No amount of leftist ideologies will work here, nor will Islamist ideologies. We are a democracy. We will stay that way. And surely Narendra Modi, Amit Shah, Ajit Doval, Rajnath Singh, Nirmala Sitharaman, they all know what's happening. And they will make sure that nothing of that nonsense that happened across the border in Dhaka will be repeated here in India. Till then, keep watching. Jai Hind.